Hi Pisces, and welcome to your January 2024 horoscope. I hope you enjoyed December and I hope you're excited for January because we have quite a big event happening, and that is Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius. We're going to get into what this means for you a little bit later in the horoscope. Another really important aspect in January will be the sextile between Saturn and Jupiter, which will be happening for pretty much the whole month. And this means that the theme for this whole month will be very much a water and earth theme, because Saturn is in a water sign and Jupiter is in an earth sign. And the way I think this will manifest, not just for you Pisces, but for actually all of the signs, is that there will be a big focus in January on our practical needs. Not just our bodily needs, like what we eat or how much we sleep, but also on our emotional needs. On January 1st, we have Venus in your 10th house squaring Saturn in your first house. This is happening in your so-called angular houses, so you might be feeling it quite a bit, Pisces. You are really enjoying your work right now. You are having fun with it. You really feel purposeful, driven there, but you're having a hard time expressing yourself. You're having a hard time really showing yourself, showing up as a true representation of who you are. There might be a lot of misunderstanding that people have of you and who you are, which is perhaps making things a little bit more difficult at your work. Just remember, this should ease up as the month goes along. On January 4th, Mars enters Capricorn, which is your 11th house. So you are networking, you are hanging out with your friends, and you are doing it with a passion. And you might be coming off to some people as a little bit assertive in that area, really taking up your space, claiming your space, which could be a bit of a misunderstanding from others. But this could also mean that you just have so much energy to really find your tribe and to find your community. And finding your community will continue to be a theme, especially for the new moon in Capricorn happening on January 11th. We have Mars, the Sun, the Moon, and Pluto in your 11th house. Granted, Pluto is quite far away from the Sun and the Moon at this time, but it is still in the same house, in the same sign. Plus, the Sun is going to continue only getting closer to Pluto. So I do still think that this new moon has a strong Plutonian influence. I see this new moon as a beautiful closing of the last 20 years where Pluto has been traveling through your 11th house. You have probably met some really influential people the last 20 years, and you have really started to lead and find a purpose and a meaningful community to belong to. I really see this as somebody that finds a volunteering group that they align with so clearly, and they finally feel like they have a mission in their life, for example. There's another interesting aspect during this new moon, which is an aspect between Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. And for you, this aspect is also bringing into the conversation the first and the third house. You are having a wonderful time in 2023 and for a little bit in 2024 with your words. Your words are just impressing others. They're able to land well. People understand you. They get you. And this is probably making it easier to really find your community and fit with them and really make an influence and a change in that community. So use this new moon to rely on your words and your strong communication to help you show up in the world in a more meaningful way. On January 14th, Venus sextiles the South Node in your 8th house. The South Node has been in your 8th house since November 2023, asking you to get rid of any codependent issues that you might have. Because Venus is sextiling, which is something that can be called an easy aspect, this day you might have some really nice opportunities from your career that make it very easy for you to become your own independent person and not rely on others. You could imagine this being, for example, a raise that you get that finally allows you to be financially independent and not relying on somebody else for your finances. Venus continues to move through your 10th house, and on January 19th, it squares Neptune in your first house. Again, a square in your angular houses, so this might be more of an intensity for you, Pisces. And specifically, you might be a little bit overly confident on this day. You might feel like things are going really well for you lately. And while I do want that to be true for you, I recommend that you take what you're feeling or what you're thinking on this day with a grain of salt. Things might seem better than they actually are. Just wait it out for a bit, see how things are feeling a couple of days later. And then if things still feel good, then you can go ahead and make that decision. And then we reach the big event of the year. On January 20th, the Sun and the Moon are conjunct. They're conjunct at the final degree of Capricorn. Just a couple of hours later, the Sun enters Aquarius. And a day later, on the 21st, Pluto also enters Aquarius. Let's unpack these 2 days by beginning our conversation with the Sun. The Sun and Pluto are entering your 12th house. This means that for the next month, you are focusing on your inner world. It's time for you to go deep within, rely on your practices in order to clean up what's going on in between your 2 ears, to make sure that the things you're believing are really serving you and allowing you to become an even better person, and to get rid of things that are holding you behind, making you feel like a victim, for example. But this is not just any ordinary mind cleaning up activity. And this is because it's kicking off a 20-year period. Pluto is entering your 12th house, and it's going to stay there for 20 years. Look back to what happened between March and June of 2023, because this could be a little foreshadowing as to what you can expect for the next 20 years. With Pluto in your 12th house, you are learning about the power of your mind. It's time to go within for the next 20 years and really learn that actually everything we do comes down to our thoughts, to what we think and how we're feeling about it. So it's going to be a beautiful inner world exploration. I can really see you, Pisces, coming out of these 20 years with a more deeper understanding of just how much influence on our day-to-day life our thoughts make. On January 23rd, Venus enters Capricorn and it enters your 11th house. We already chatted about what Mars in your 11th house could mean for you, that you are really pursuing your friends and a network with passion. And now that Venus is entering that same house, it might mellow out this energy a bit. You're still quite assertive and really spending time and energy on finding your own group. But now you're also enjoying it. Wherever Venus is, it shows that we are approaching it with more fun, more flair, more enjoyment. So perhaps now your networking activities or your time with friends becomes something that's a little bit more focused on fun activities. You know, I really see this as you used to, with Mars in the 11th house, you would meet with people at a not so nice co-working space, for example. But with Venus entering the 11th house, all of a sudden you are meeting people at spas, which feels much more luxurious, or you're inviting them in your home and cooking a beautiful homemade meal for them. On January 25th, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your 12th house. The Sun and Pluto are still conjunct during this full moon. Sextile between Saturn and Jupiter is still very much happening during this full moon, bringing into the conversation your first and your third house. This full moon I really see as an initiation into the 20-year Plutonian emphasis in your 12th house. But because we have the first and the third house part of this conversation as well, you are maybe spending time teaching or talking with others, maybe writing, and allowing that to sort of feed into or give you some insights into the inner work that you still have to do. I can really see this as, for example, you're teaching somebody about something that relates to them, and all of a sudden while you're teaching you realize, wait a second, I'm actually talking about myself, and I can really take this advice and apply it to myself as well. January 28th is also quite an interesting day. There are a couple of things happening on this day. First of all, Mars squares the nodes. Secondly, Uranus goes direct. And thirdly, we have the same aspect that happened earlier in the month between Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. But this time it's happening with Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. Take a look at what happened on January 11th, because this day might be a bit of a repetition from it, but it might be a little bit of a kinder, easier repetition of it. Because Mars is squaring the nodes, this is a day to be courageous. It's a day to do the scary thing because it's going to help you to truly step into your independence. It's going to help you become a better person, to learn not to rely on others unless it's something that's necessary. And the way you might be doing that is by being courageous and standing your ground with your network, with all of these amazing friends and people that you're meeting, with really your tribe. And that might feel really difficult because they're your tribe, they're your chosen people that you really align with. But sometimes even the people that we have a lot in common with, we need to take distance from them and really remember that we are our own individual. We close off the month on the 30th with Mars trining Uranus. If you've done the scary thing, you've expressed yourself, you've set your boundaries, I really see this day as a sort of acknowledgement from others that, okay, wait a second, they're a bit weird, they're a bit unique, but that's super cool. And we actually like them even better and want to accept them as part of our tribe and group of friends even more. So it could be a really interesting way to close off the month. So wow, Pisces, like who are these people that you're meeting? Because they must be amazing. It must be really fun finding your group of people. And I hope you're ready for some inner work. It's going to be the theme for the next 20 years. And I really think that you're one of the signs that accepts the inner work perhaps a bit easier than the rest. And I hope you're excited about it because I think a lot of good things can come out of it as well. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can catch the February horoscope as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon.